Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely stream deck. For more information about the stream deck, the link is in the description below.
Good evening everyone and welcome to round 21 and the final round of the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy Season 16 PC F4 League. After nearly 6 months, the season has finally reached its conclusion. Well done to Zerd, the Drivers' Champion of Season 16, and for Haas for winning the Constructors with Zerd and return at the wheel of what has been a thrilling season. And we end it here in Abu Dhabi at the 5.5 kilometre circuit with 21 corners. A race that starts at twilight, then going into dusk and into the night. This circuit isn't short of championship deciders. 2010, 2014 and 2016 all throw up some intense races. No championships on offer today, which means that the drivers can kind of throw caution to the wind, to be honest, and just go for this and get the best result possible to close their season out and maybe climb up a few places in the championship standings. However, before we get into those, let's go on board for a hot lap around this circuit. Welcome along to the final AOR Hype Energy hot lap for the Season 16 F1 League. We are on board with CRG Evo, the Xbox One Split 1 champion, as he takes us through a lap around the Marina circuit here in Abu Dhabi. Fourth gear for turn 1 for a flat out turn 2, and turn 3 approaches a very demanding right-hander, which you can easily misjudge for the Ferrari driver. No fault through there. Through turn 5 and turn 6 now, clipping the curves to absolute perfection before a sharp hairpin of turn 7. Down the first gear, just get the nose turned in. Now back on the power once again. Down the first of 2 long DRS straights, where overtaking is certainly possible for all the drivers tonight with the use of DRS obviously and slipstream. 100 meter board is your marker for the sharp turn 8, and then the chicane of 9 follows, and then back on the gas once again for the second straight down towards the chicane of 11, 12 and 13. The 100 meter board is the marker once again as Ferrari brakes nicely and planted through there. 11, 12 and 13 running over the curbs very nicely indeed. Turn 14 don't want to wide an exit because in about a lap time could await. Now through turn 15, flat out once again in turn 16, the heavy braking zone for turn 17. The car nicely turned in. Now go underneath the hotel section for turn 18 and 19, go very close to the wall and in towards the final 2 corners as he closes out the lap. And with it, his qualifying session around the final corner, and that is a lap around the Marina circuit here in Abu Dhabi. Right, that is a lap around this circuit. Apologies if there were some lag issues. Hopefully they can get resolved ASAP. As always, my name is James Costello, one of your commentators for tonight's race. And alongside me once again for the final time is Jens, who is once again going to go through the championship standings before the final race of the season.
Yes, indeed I am. And if we begin with the driver's standings, we've only seen one change in positions for this race. So, as you see, third on the top there with 272 points, with 60 points down to Ryson. Then we have Chrysix 4 points down from Ryson with 208. Then we have Soda in fourth with 170. Then we have Return with 114. Then we have Hitson with 113, the last person with over 100 points. Then we have Robert with 85. Then we have Hooper, that's jumping up 1 place with 78, and John Engberg getting pushed down by Robert with 73. Then we have Jeff Kane and Big Boss with both 63 points. Then Richie B with 59, Eli with 46, Tom Lipman and Coyote with 26 each. Then we have Cyril with 13, then we have let's start with 19. Marb with 13, Rink with 9, Ferraris with 5, and Otto still was 0 points there. Then if we move over to the constructor standings, we have Haas with 386 points. Then we have Sauber 55 down from that with 331. Then we have Williams with 295, the third place there. Then we have Renault with 243, Force India with 176, McLaren with 141, Ferrari with 136, Red Bull with 110, Toro Rosso just outside there with 68. Sorry. Then we have Mercedes in last place still with 39. And I apologise if there is some lag issues. It seems that there are some technical difficulties currently, but nonetheless, we're here in qualifying in Abu Dhabi for this last race of this season, with Serd currently on provisional pole position. And man, what a season we've had.
I know, right? It's kind of sad that after this race, season 16 PCF4 will have finished, and our kind of job for the Sunday nights will be over for a few weeks. But this is a perfect circuit, to be honest, to end the season. It's got such prestigious history in AOR and also in real life as well. I'm just so looking forward because it's just such a good track. Maybe not for real life, but in AOR it always produces some fantastic races, and hopefully we'll see some of that action tonight. And there are still battles going on in the championship. The battle for second is really hitting up. Only 4 points between Ryzen and Cryzix, and Cryzix on a form of his life, to be honest. First, third, and second are in the past 5 races. So we're looking to overthrow Ryzen and potentially take that second position in the championship, which would really be a boost for him.
Yes, indeed it would be, and it's when you don't get the fight for first place, you can at least get the fight for second place in the last race. So we'll certainly be looking forward to that in the race. But in qualifying, Cryzix in 5th. Looking good there, and Ryzen all the way up in 3rd there, so some time to catch up there.
It's interesting the tyre strategy on course for today's race. Well, we have the softest of the Pirelli range, with the Hypersoft, the Ultrasoft, and the Supersofts. Now, the Ultrasoft tyre is probably the one that drivers will be more likely to start on, to do the one-stop maybe, but if drivers are willing to do the two-stop, they will obviously go onto the Hypersofts for the start and qualify on those, and that's looking the case for Zerd, Heinen, and Ryzen at the moment. But obviously Rainer back there in 4th on the Supersoft tyres, only about 2 tenths behind Ryzen in 3rd, so pace looks very good on the rest stop tyres, but I'm assuming the guys in Supersoft at the moment are going to jump onto the purple striped Ultrasoft tyres come the end of the session and maybe try and improve on that time, because that's probably the tyre they're going to want to start the race on and try and avoid the two-stop, maybe if not feeling like trying to make their way through the traffic.
Yeah, that could be, because if you do the two-stop, it is fast on paper, but you do have the risk of that traffic, which won't be too good, and that will just make you lose positions in the end, which is
It's a risk. Oh yeah, carry on.
no, it's just that it's a risk, as you were about to say.
Yeah, I mean, if I was in the driver's position, I would probably be more willing to do the one-stop strategy because I can't pass traffic to save my life. But obviously, Zerd, as a champion, you can just kind of go for it in this race and maybe try and get what would be, if I'm not mistaken, his 3rd pole position of the season, which would match what Lass, Hayden, and Rayner have all done. Obviously, Lass, kind of a distant name to be honest, because he left about around Canada time to join F3, but he's still joint top for the most pole positions of the season, which is quite a record in itself, to be honest, because that means we've had so many different pole sitters, and just counting, there's probably about 10 or 11 here, because this season's just been so tense. We just can't, for a majority of the season, just couldn't pinpoint a winner or someone to get pole position. That's what I've really enjoyed about this season, because coming into each and every race, obviously other tracks suit other drivers, and it's kind of a guessing game to who will come out on top, wasn't it?
Yes, indeed, it has been, like, as you said, it's been so close with all these drivers that yeah, it's been really hard to pinpoint one on top of the others.
Just wondering if anyone's actually on a lap. I think Eli's actually on. No, he's on an out lap. But I think most drivers are now on their second stint on qualifying. Ryzen's and Hyena is actually making his way down towards turn 11 in the Saab, but he hasn't had a lot of great form recently. He had that great string of third places, but it's kind of ended, and he'll be looking to end his season on a high. In second place at the moment, a distant 3/10 off Zerd, but crucially ahead of his teammate. And these have had a great scrap throughout this season when Hayden enjoyed for Austria. Ryzen has some competition in the Salvo garage, and Hayden, if he maybe joined for the start of the season, he might have been in contention to maybe be in that second place scrap. But it just obviously joining in Austria always be a disadvantage. But he's going to come across the line now, and it is pole position. It's 1:33.8 for the Salvo man, about 2.5 tenths ahead of Zerd. So that's a very good lap from him, dipping into 1:33. He's the first man to do so. I'm wondering if we'll see maybe a low to mid 1:33 come the end of the session.
Yeah, I think that's where we'll see the times, as you see Serd is almost in that 33s just with that bank lap he put in early on, and the other guys, I mean, they're in the mid and to high and to the low 35s there, so, and to the mid and high 34s, so it'll be interesting to see if most of them can put it down into the 1:33s.
Zerd's on his lap right now. Ryzen's also on his lap right now. These two have had a fantastic season squabbling for that championship. Obviously, Zerd did come out on top. Ryzen just kind of faltered his season and kind of unravelled, while Zerd has just sprung in his step, and he's dominated the past few races compared to his Sauber driver. But I think he's backed off on his lap, so might as well carry on with Ryzen unless someone else has caught your iGens, but I'm pretty sure Ryzen's looking quite quick at the moment. Obviously, his teammate is currently on provisional pole at the moment. Obviously, be looking to beat his teammate in the team battle between himself and so it's quite close between himself and Hayden in the teammate battle when Hayden joins. So we're looking to improve on his time, and with that get up a few places up the order, coming down towards the hotel section underneath the Etihad Hotel, which will look glorious when the night starts to fall. But Ryzen goes very close to the wall. We saw Brennan Hartley actually hit the wall in the real life race. It's not what it wouldn't. Does not help the car one bit whatsoever. Around the final corner for the German driver and across the line, and he improves slightly, but it's a 1:34.3. But he can't get up to the heights of his teammate, or Zerd for that matter, 3/10 behind them.
Actually,
As Zerd goes
Serd,
pole.
yeah. We both thought he had gone off on his lap, but no. He stuck with it and tried to get through, so a 1:33.9. Great time from him there, going into those mid 33s. So yeah, Hisnell will be having to try and improve on his time as best as possible, as well as the other drivers if they want to get pole, of course.
Richie B now goes up into the 1:34.5 range in the Toro Rosso. Toro Rosso having the better seasons, obviously. Richie B's been kind of carrying them throughout the season. Rienk just hasn't had luck on his side, to be honest, and he's kind of missed quite a substantial amount of races. Richie B holding the flag, the sole flag for Toro Rosso tonight, up there in fourth place at the moment. He's kind of been an unsung hero. You know, he's had some fantastic results. Austria is notable, USA as well. We're looking to end the season on a high, as will all the other drivers, and fourth place is not a bad way to start with only 4 minutes left of this qualifying session.
Yeah, but these drivers now will be going out for that mad dash, as we call it here, for that final time to get the optimal time, as the track conditions has improved so much with all the rubber being laid down.
Yeah, and then Ryzen actually comes into the pit, so He wasn't happy with his second lap. Wonder if any Ultrasoft runners are going to come across the line. Sarah's actually on a lap, I think, coming around the final corner now in 10th place at the moment, and he jolts himself up into 3rd position on the 1:34.2. Now that is an impressive lap time from the Renault. Only about 6 tenths behind Zerd, but Zerd is on a form of his life, so I don't expect him to challenge Zerd, especially on a harder compound of tyres. But that is a major upset, to be honest. I didn't expect that lap time from an Ultrasoft runner, but it just shows that the Ultrasoft runner could split some Hypersoft runners and maybe throw up a surprise at the end of the qualifying session. Because Lazzaro, obviously, we know he's quick, but he's inconsistent. And his teammate currently on the Ultrasoft tyres as well, Krysics, he could be able to challenge his teammate and maybe even jump higher if he can have a lap of his life.
Yep, as we see here, Robert trying to improve, and he actually does. A 133.9 on those ultra soft tyres. I thought his lap was getting invalidated as he went quite wide in the last corner, but no, managed to get it up. And indeed, as you were saying, these ultra soft runners could very well split these hyper soft runners, but I could imagine that Royce and Rich B has just put in bank laps for now and is just waiting for that optimal temperature and track to put in the optimal time. But you now know those ultra runners could really split those hypersoft runners come the end of this qualifying session.
Yep, Zerd obviously setting the gauntlet for everyone to chase. 1:33.6 is provisional pole at the moment, but obviously there are drivers on Hypersoft tyres there to challenge. Drivers on Ultrasoft tyres for to challenge. Krysics is just flying like returns, starting his potential final flying. Like Raina's coming through the chicane of 11, 12 and 13. Very interesting to see how this lap progresses for the Merc, who's had 2 wins on the trot in Mexico and Brazil, looking to make it 3 in the bounce. And one way to do that is set a good lap time in qualifying. It's unlikely to be pole position considering he's on the harder compound of tyres compared to the F4 champion. Making his way round to turn 19 and into the final 2 corners of his lap round. Turn 20, nicely planted through there for the Mercedes. Around the final corner and up towards the line, it is going to be a 1:33.7 on the Ultrasoft tyres. Now that is a statement and a half from Rainer. He is super quick round this circuit, it seems. And you know, if he was on Hypersoft tyres, I would probably say that a low, maybe you don't know what, it might even dip into the 1:32s at this rate, because he is literally so quick at the moment. And second place on the Ultrasoft tyres is a fantastic place to start the racing.
Yeah, I think there's some major desync because Rainer just crossed the line on my screen. So that's the quirks of technology of this time. Nothing we can do about it, unfortunately, but yeah.
I'm pretty sure Zerd's decent on my screen, so
yeah,
anything you can do, I can do better.
Where's Zerd on your screen?
Coming through the chicane at turn 5 and 6, very slowly compared to what he should be.
Oh my, on mine he's not even through that, he's going through the hairpin now. So yeah, I think I'm behind you, very much, on all fronts.
Anyway, with 10 seconds left of this qualifying, on the final qualifying session of the season, Mob calls it a day in 11th place at the moment. Krysics down in 12th, and doesn't look like he'll be improving unless he's severely decent on my screen. 3 drivers have already finished their qualifying. Robert, Lazzaro and Big Boss are going to start no higher than 4th, 5th and 6th. But Zerd's making his way into turn 11, turn 13. Heinen is actually probably going to be the first to complete a lap when the checkered flag falls. Coming round the final corner now. He was on provisional pole. It got taken away from him from Zerd. Coming across the line now. And it is pole position for Heinen. It's a 1:33.5. As I said before, anything Zerd can do, well, Heinen can absolutely smash that. Saying smash probably a bit of an overstatement because it's only about half a cent quicker than the Haas ban, and I'm assuming he's going to come round the final couple of corners now And I'm not sure, it might be a quick lap, it's not a quick lap on my screen, but coming on the final corner is Zerd. Can he potentially spoil the Sauerman's party? Yes, he can! A 1:33.3 from the champion. It is pole position for Zerd, unless Rising could do something about it, coming around the final corner in the Sauber for one last time. No, only 5th for Rising, a 1:34 flat. That lap, pretty flat, to be honest.
Yep.
Not the best from him.
And Rich B is also coming through the final corner. It's not as quick as the other guys, but what will he do? It's just 8th place for him as well. What about, I think the only one we have left is Dewey Coyote, but he doesn't seem to improve there from last place. So, after this last qualifying session of season 16, we see it's Third on pole.
For the third time this season, and we will look to turn that pole into victory and success. In alongside him, Marina and Robert making up the second row on ultra-soft tyres. Rising alongside Lazzaro, again on the purple striped tyres, with Hooper and Richie B on the fourth row. Return and Eli keep the company on row 5. Big Boss and Marbert in all Dutch 6th row, and Kryzix and Dirikoti round out the go. Kryzix in 13th, that's not the best way to start his final race in F4 season 16.
No, it is not. And before we head into the last race of this season, here's a short message from our sponsors, Hype Energy. And welcome back here to the track. As you can see, it is a dry race here in Abu Dhabi, which we were quite expecting, as it's not a track known for producing much rain. But
well, you say that. In 2018, we had a small shower,
yes,
but it did absolutely nothing, did it? Because it's so hot in this part of the world that the rain just disintegrates. To be honest, it just evaporates.
Yeah, you know, it begins to rain, but it's more like standing outside, getting a bit of drizzle on your head, and that's that. And
Pretty much.
Yeah, and it just evaporates immediately, almost. But yep, you see here the drivers come around on the formation lap, and you have Marb and Diri Coyote both opting for the super soft tyres. Then we have Surd and Hidson and Ryson, Hooper and Richie B on the Hypersoft, and the rest on the Ultrasoft. So we're seeing all the different compounds here for the start of this race.
Yes, Marb and Dirikoti will try to go long in this stint and then go on to a set of ultra-soft tyres come the end. And for the guys on the ultra-soft tyres, expect a 2-stop. I don't think they can extend their stint. They can elongate it so much that they can probably make a 1-stop work. So expect a 2-stop from them, which means that they're going to have to work through some traffic. But I'm sure that'll just make the racing even better, to be honest. Faster guys, or faster tyres, trying to get past the slower guys, and I'm seeing Zer just literally get crashed because he's desynced. Hopefully that's not how his race will end in the gravel track, but yeah, the final time of this season, Marvin disqualified, as has Big Boss. That's not how you want to start the final race, but for one final time, we're about to get racing, and after 28 laps, it's going to be quite emotional to see the checkered flag cross for the 21st and final time, and let's hope everyone can get through this race cleanly and safely, and let's hope for another great race, because this season has produced some absolutely thrilling races that I've been watching on repeat over and over again, because it's just been sheer brilliance from all the drivers on show. Keep it clean, and to B, produce some fantastic exhilarating racing, and for one final time we are about to get racing here in Marina here in Abu Dhabi, as all the drivers are about to line up on the grid ahead of this 28 lap race. We saw Will Smith do the checkered flag. Don't think it's going to happen today, but regardless, we're about to get ready to go racing here in Abu Dhabi. It's a 5 red light appear ahead of the drivers. And it's lights out, and away we go for one more time in season 16. It's a good start from everyone up in front. Zerd keeping on to the lead. Hayden broke himself coming out of turn 1, and Rayner takes that second position. Good start from the Mercedes on the soft tyres. They're going side by side. The Hayden and Robert going side by side. Ryzen and Latsera going side by side. They head in towards the chicane of 5 and 6. Zerdu keeps hold of his lead. Ryzen is still squabbling away with Robert as he head into the hairpin of turn 5. Latsero's under pressure from Hooper in 7th place, and Richie B is going side by side. I think that's with return. Yes, the two Dutchies going side by side, and Hayden and Rayner are still going for it down towards turn 8. Hayden with the outside line, Rayner with the inside line. Hayden will have the inside line for the next section, and he does get that second place back. But Rayner's going to fight for this once again down towards turn 11. They're still going side by side. Brilliant racing between both of them. Can Rayner just about squeeze his nose into the inside line first compared to the Sauber? The Sauber's going to have to go around the outside, turn to the inside, then the outside. They're still going side by side. Hayden just about squeezes his way past the Mercedes, and that was bold, it was brave, it was beautiful, and Hayden retakes the place on Rayner and takes that second place back from Mercedes' hands. I probably don't think you saw that on your screen because he's desynced, but that was a fantastic move from Hayden.
Yeah, and terribly sorry, but there's nothing we do. On your screen and on my screen, we see Rayner in last place and hits them alone up in second. But as I said, there's nothing we can do, and it looks like Rayner has now no, he hasn't. He's in first, but in last, but in second, but in third. So, yeah, all sorts of things happening now, but it's the last race. We can only have fun.
Hayden goes extremely wide in the exits of turn 3. Rayner's going to send up the inside again, and he takes that second place back off the Sauber Sands, and then once again going side by side. Everyone on the stream probably baffled as to why Hayden's moving around so much. He's in a battle with an invisible car on your screen, unfortunately, but Hayden's going to go side by side. Ryzen might add himself onto the equation. He thought about making it 3 wide, but he sensibly backed out, and they're still going side by side in towards turn 9. Rayner just about having the edge, but they're both really on the edge right here. Hayden and Rayner and Hayden, and they're still going wheel to wheel, pedal to the metal once again. Hayden with the inside line, going into the left-hander. Rayner trying to fight this like his life depends on it. They're still going side by side. Zer's probably having an absolutely comfortable lead at the moment. I'm not sure how big it is because he's decent on my screen. They're still going side by side in towards turn 16. Hayden surely has to give this up, and he sensibly does. And Robert and Lazzaro are getting a bit feisty. Hooper's trying to make his move on the Renault. They nearly make contact with McLaren and the Renault, but Lazzaro just about stays hold of that 5th place, and they're all bunching up in the midfield, about the front. I think Zer's got quite a comfortable lead at the moment because Hayden and Rayner are squabbling like crazy.
I can't tell you because Rayner's now in first place, with the third being behind with 1 minute and 35.5. And now he went to last place, and now it's all showing that the drivers have moved up. And I think I'm back with the actual timings. We have Zerd with a 6.3 second lead, but Rayner's still in last place. So, interesting times.
DRS has now been activated, which will give Ryzen an incentive to maybe get past his teammate. Hayden's dropped off DRS range from Rayner. Ryan's going to try and go down the inside. It was a bit of a half-hearted attempt from the Sauber man, as Richie Beaner hits the back end of Hooper there in their scrap for 7th position. Big Boss might get interested in the rear of that Toro Rosso, squabbling for 8th place, I think. as heading towards the chicane of 11, 12, 13. Big Boss thought about it. Richie B gave him the room. Richie B goes a bit deep, which might give Big Boss trying to get past him, but no. Richie B stays hold. Oh, that's Kryzik trying to go down the inside of Big Boss. Oh, I couldn't quite make it stick. Kryzik has to get a jump on because he's quite far behind Ryzen. If he wants to get that second place in the championship, it's not really working out for him at the moment. Down in, I think that's 10th position because Zerd's gone back to being 14th, despite the fact he's probably about 6 seconds in the lead.
Yes, nothing we can do, but there's some amazing battling as that's Richie B going into the pits as Reina goes into the lead for some bizarre reason. Richie B opting for the Hypersoft tyres in the pits there, going for the two-stopper, I presume. And as we see, I think that was Lazzaro going over the curbs off turn 3, I believe that was. But no, actually Richie B opting for the Ultrasoft. Looks like he had some front wing damage and went in to get that fixed. Surprised he didn't go for the Super Soft and maybe try to go till the end, but it looks like he'll be trying for the two-stopper, then going long and then taking on the Hypersofts maybe.
Ryzen still getting up to the rear end of his teammate. He got a much better exit compared to his finished teammate. Coming down towards turn 11, Hayden defends the inside line, forcing his teammate to go long round the chicane, and he can't quite do it. Robert's back in the mix as well as Lazzaro and Hooper goes wide. Coming into that chicane, has to get forced off the track there, maybe by Lazzaro, we don't know. But Ryzen still getting frustrated maybe behind his teammate. Robert's all over the back end of the German driver, and then he goes into the back of him. And Lazzaro gets very tail happy on the exit of turn, that will be 16 there. And Lil loses it. But yeah, Taji Ware is third in the lead. Rain has pulled a massive advantage between himself and Hayden. It's about 2 seconds. Hayden comes into the pits on lap 4. It's only made those Hypersoft last 4 laps. Hooper's also into the pits as well. Zer's carrying on, as is Ryzen. They're both from the Hypersoft tyres. Assuming Hayden will probably go onto the Ultrasoft tyres just like Richie B did the previous lap. Let's just see. Yes, it is the purple striped tyres for him. And also, no, Hooper's gone into the Hypersoft tyres. That's very interesting indeed. It's a very interesting decision from the McLaren to go onto the pink striped tyres. Back out in 12th and 13th for both of them. As onto the straight we come now on lap 5. Can Ryzen... Well, Ryzen's actually... He was attacking last time out. This time he's going to have to defend from Robert, who's getting ever closer to the back end of the Sauber. Going to be a brave man to go down the inside there from that far back. Maybe a better exit coming out of turn 9 could give him a chance to get past Ryzen coming out of that chicane. And now hurtling down the straight at around 200 miles an hour, pulling out to the outside is a force in. They're going wheel to wheel. And Ryzen with the inside line, Robert with the outside line. Robert gets forced off the track and can't get past, or can he? Because he's scoring like, oh, Ryzen, they lose it. Oh, and make contact just about, and Ryzen gets forced off the track. And that promotes Robert up into 3rd position. That's a bit argy-bargy stuff there. And Lazzaro's getting interested in the rear end of the Force India. Goes deep at turn 17. Looking Lazzaro forced away past the Force India. He's losing time left, right and centre. And rising a bit, I think he'll probably dart into the pits on the end of this lap. Robert might have accumulated a bit of front wing damage because he seems to be struggling to get up to grips. And oh, that's Big Boss from absolutely nowhere trying to get past Lazzaro, that is. They're going to go side by side, and Big Boss does make the move stick. Kryzik's now right behind his teammate after a poor start. He's now up into 6th position, it would be, and it's all kicking off at the moment.
Yes, indeed, it is, with these battles going left, right and centre while we're dealing with the desync. It's really hard for me to find out where to look because some of the drivers are out of order, but nope, trying our best here as we see this little train with the 2 Renaults, Robert and Big Boss. Let's see, will anyone try and go for a move? No, it would have been a bit too optimistic for these guys. You never know. See a Kryzik getting real close to his teammate as he tries to go for a move around the outside on the DRS straight. Will he be able to do it down in the chicane? It doesn't look like it, but you go around the outside. He goes for the move, turns to the inside, then outside again. As Lazzaro gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. He really just went into that very much. So that's Crytek's getting a position off Lazzaro up into 5th place, I believe that is if we take the desync into account.
I think Lazzaro will probably get that penalty removed because he was kind of forced into that area by his teammates. As Ryzenly loses the back end coming out of turn 19, he surely has to pit on this lap. Otherwise, I'd be quite concerned if to maybe get a puncture for this Alba, and he does indeed come into the pits, as does Zerd as well. So Zerd coming out of the pits on the ultra soft tyres. He'll come out and around about 9th or 10th as there's battling going on between Return and the two Red Bulls. Derek Cody ahead of his teammate Eli in 7th and 8th, as Big Boss has now clawed his way up into 3rd position at the moment behind Robert in 2nd position. You might fancy his chances against the Austrian driver trying to get past the Force India, hurtling down the DRS straight, the first of 2. He's going to get a great dose of DRS, great dose of slipstream as well, pulling out to the outside. Robert defending the inside line. Big Boss goes cleanly right round the outside, turns to the inside for the second part chicane, and he has that move pretty much done and dusted. But can Robert fight back? He does have DRS. That has the benefit of losing that position coming out of the first chicane, because he'll get DRS for the second part chicane. He's going to go to the inside. On the inside, Big Boss covered it, but Robert said, no, I'm steaming past you. And that is a super move from the Force India driver to retake that second position. Brilliant moving from both of them. And Big Boss thought he had that position sealed, but Robert had other thoughts.
Yep, as I think that was Duracodian Return swapping positions very briefly. As I think that's Sir going around the outside of Eli. Great move from him, as you just saw in the background of that shot. There's Sir trying to get up this field as fast as possible, as he's now past Duracodian, right behind his teammate. Will there be some team orders, or will it be too risky with the Red Bulls? Let's see. As Return pulls a bit to the side, and Sir goes round the outside. So it looks like could have been some team orders, or just some sheer pace from Sir there on those new tyres.
Lazzaro nearly hits the back end of his teammate coming into turn 6, and Mob adds himself a penalty to the board, I should say, as now back onto the straight. We come now for the battle for what will be second place, third when everyone comes into the pits, because Zerd is back behind all these lots. Is Big Boss going to try again down towards turn 8? No, he thinks better of it. Maybe try and it might have learnt from last time out, maybe to try and sit back on the first straight and trying to get past on the second straight, because it's quite unlikely that if he gets past on the second straight, Robert can have any answer. But I think he's a bit too far behind to maybe challenge for a move coming into turn 11, and he is. Robert stays ahead of Big Boss for the time being, and Crytek's and Lazzaro, both banana. Renault boys still in this battle, but drifting away a little bit there as Return and Dirikuti is still going side by side, and Return still keeps hold of that 7th position ahead of the Finn, who just can't seem to get past. They're kind of being a cork on the champagne bottle to Red Bull's hopes and dreams this race, because they do have some decent pace. Obviously, Dirikuti on the super soft tyres seeming to be the more quicker of the two Red Bulls, but they're stuck behind the Dutchman in the Haas, and they just can't seem to get past, find an answer.
No, they really can't. He's really defending this place well. As that's Robert and Big Boss fighting, and Big Boss goes down the inside of Robert there for, I believe that's second place. As there's Robert,
wide.
Very wide, and he loses it across the track, and he crashes into the wall. Losing.
I nearly hit Lazzaro. That was a heart-in-mouth moment. Came across the track while the drivers were coming in towards turn 4, and he's lucky that his car isn't terminally damaged, as Dirikoti and Return are still going side by side, coming out of a hairpin of turn 7. Return with the outside line. Eli just got a great ringside seat as Dirikuti does manage to get past Return finally, but that's might not be a blessing in disguise for return, because he might try and get past him once again, but he doesn't get the best of exits coming out of turn 9. And I think Durakoti has finally got past the Haasman, and he has. Up into 7th place goes the Red Bull, and Robert is just ahead of him with that damaged front wing, and I'm assuming he's going to come into the pits for an unscheduled pit stop.
Yeah, because it's very damaged on the left side. Yeah, he goes very wide, and he goes gets stop-go penalty for that, as he lets that was Dear Coyote past. And what about return? He'll also be overtaken quite easily there, going around the outside. Maybe no. Well, he tries, but there. But some squabbling there. As I think that's Coyote. There was some drivers involved in that. At least I couldn't see who it was. But at least Robert and return going into the pits. But as we see here, Hitson trying to overtake through turn 1, 2 and 3. Trying to overtake Eli just right up there as he goes round the outside into the chicane as he gets the move done. Quite a good move there.
Yeah, super move from Hayden to take that 7th place, or 6th place I should say, and yeah, Hooper's right on the tail of Eli now. It was quite awkward at the end of the lap there. I think Return was trying to go into the pits, but like, Robert was blocking his way and Eli was trying to get past there, but here comes Hooper now, down the first DRS straight, gonna go down the inside of his fellow coordinator. The two coordinators scrolling for this position, left, right, centre, and Hooper gets a much better exit coming out of turn 9 with DRS. That should be his place ahead of the Frenchman, because Eli does not have DRS. It'll be brave man to go down the inside, and he decides against it. It's Hooper upper place ahead of Eli.
Yep, and that was some moving there between those two. As we saw Third overtake Lazzaro for 4th place.
Yes.
Yeah, 4th place. As Reina goes into the pits. I believe that's not desync showing on my screen. Crysik's coming up. Also, Third coming up behind Crysik's. As it looks like the desync for Reina's over now. As it looks like he's up into his actual position, but here Third getting into this fight between Crysik's and Big Boss for what is 1st place now, or with those two it is just for Third it will be net 1st place, and those two they're just battling before their pit stops. As I think we've gotten the desync problems fixed with Reina down in 9th place, now 10th coming out of the pits.
Crysik's going to go around the outside of Big Boss. Can he do it? No. Not quite in near to rear end of Big Boss. I'm sure Zer's getting interested in this battle, but I'm not quite sure where he is on my screen. Now down towards turn 11. Big
they
Boss.
They go 3 wide. They were 3 wide into the chicane. Crysik's, actually Eli or Big Boss backing out of that. Third getting 1 position. Crysik's at the top there. That was quite some interesting moving into that chicane. Quite hard to see with the camera angles we got, as it looks like Big Boss going behind a bit. As Sir was looking to go for a move there, but thought better of it. Coming here into the last couple of corners. Will Sir go for a move, or will he keep it until the straight? Looks like it. As we see, Big Boss has catched up to them again. Quite close with these 3 at the top. Will any of them dive into the first corner? We're quite up to... Yes, Sir goes for it into 1st place. Quite interesting, but there Crysik's fights back. But there they're going side by side into turn 3. Still side by side. It looks like Sir got the position there. Will Crysik's fight back into the first chicane? No, he will not. What about into the hairpin down the straight? No, it looks like they will keep there. But what about Big Boss coming from behind on Crysik's with the DRS and the slipstream? What about Crysik's on Third? It looks like they've gotten into position now. There's some yellow flags in sector 1 and 2. I didn't see what that could have been for, but as we see Hitson here going down the inside of Dury Coyote. Go ahead.
And Reina's right behind him as well, so Heinen gets past the Finnish driver. I just saw that move on stream. That was a fantastic 3-wide moment. Can Reina try and get past Irukoti heading in towards turn 11? He's going to go right round the outside of this fellow Supersoft runner, and he's up into fifth position it should be, after Zerd's timing boards get sorted out. Yeah, Reina right behind Heinen after pitting 1 lap ago. And he's looking fresh and fearless to try and get past Basalba, who's on 7-lap-old soft tyres compared to 1-lap-old super soft tyres. And Reina looks ever eager to maybe get past Basalba as Big Boss actually comes into the pit. As Crysis carries on for 1 more lap. It'll be interesting to see where Big Boss comes out in comparison to Lazzaro, because he was battling away. Lazzaro got caught up in it, battling with Zerd and lost a bit of time. Big Boss comes into service pit stop now. Comes out of his pit garage, and I think Lazzaro's going to be comfortably ahead of him. I'm not sure if Big Boss had any front wing damage to accumulate to him, but he was looking pretty quick at the end of the stint, but he's miles behind Lazzaro. And he's back out once again into the racetrack, probably going to be in 11th position as Eli also comes into the pits. Big Boss down in 11th, Christ will probably dart into the pits on this lap, but I'm interested in this battle between Heinen and Reina. Reina with DRS heading down towards turn 8. Try and get past him, but I think it's a bit too far back. I'm just going to try an audacious dive bomb. He thinks better of it, but coming out of this chicane, we'll get a much better exit. DRS once again for the Mercedes driver, the reserve driver. He's been switching teams left, right and centre in his past races, but he's in the Merc and he's trying to get past the Sauber going down towards turn 11. Hayden covers the inside lane when they're forced to the outside line, and they're still going side by side like they were on the first few laps. This is absolutely amazing racing between both of them. Hayden loses it coming out of turn 12. 14 I should say, and Reina goes right round the outside of the Sauber driver, and the Sauber driver nearly locks up and hits the back end of the Mercedes driver, and that's a beautiful moving between both of them, and Reina takes that 3rd position, as into the pits then comes Crysis to serve his pit stop, and he will lose that 2nd position. Will be promoted up into 3rd position. Hooper, I want to mention to him, he's right behind Irukoti. He's still in this battle, despite the fact he's on 9-lap-old hyper-soft tyres. As Price will come out very closely with his teammate. I think Lazzaro, by pitting a few laps earlier, might have just performed the undercut on both of the guys he was squabbling with, and he has. He's ahead of his teammates, so Crysis is going to have to re-overtake his teammate on track, as that's Hooper trying to get past Irukoti in the battle for 4th position in today's race, as the sun starts to set on this Abu Dhabi circuit, and you can see the sky getting ever darker, and it might be getting a bit darker on track for Irukoti. He's going to get overtaken once again. This time it's Hooper sailing past him with DRS with the inside line at turn 8, and it's a pretty comfortable move for the British McLaren driver to retake that 4th position ahead of the Finn.
Yes, indeed. As we see Reina on my screen in last place, we see some guys go through him, but yep, as we've mentioned before, this desync, he should be up in 2nd place, I believe. Yep, he should be up in 2nd place, but as you see, he's switching between being in dead last and being very far in front, which is unfortunate, but yeah, we'll try and work with it.
Speaking of switching, Crysis and Lazzaro have switched places. Probably sensible decision from both of them. Crysis does look quicker than his teammates, and Crysis is let through as he is now come to 8th as Richie B actually comes in to serve his 2nd pit stop, as does Hooper as well. So they get, both of those Renaults get promoted up into 6th and 7th. Pretty sure that's everyone now who has made their pit stops. Apart from Irukoti, apologies, he's still in 4th position, running a great race, and Ryzen right behind him to keep him company, but it's a bit too far back to he's just dipped into that 1 second range. Super and Richie B both come out in 12th and 13th, very closely with Robert, as Marb actually goes off the track there at turn 3 there. There's a 4-way scrap for 9th position. It's Return leading a train of himself, Robert, Hooper, and Mob. After going wide, oh, he's losing it left, right, and centre here. And Richie B goes down the inside of him at turn 7. But it'll be interesting to see if Robert Return can keep hold of that 10th position. It'll be interesting to see if Derek Cote can keep hold of that 4th position. Ryzen trying to go round the outside, and it's no match. 14-lap-old super soft tyres are no match for the 8-lap-old ultra soft tyres, and Ryzen regains that 4th position off the Red Bull's hands, and he can set his sights up for his teammate, who is about 3.5 seconds up the road, as Robert and Return are still squabbling into turn 11, and Robert gets the job done on the Dutch Haasman and make his way up into 9th position, and Hooper on those fresh ultra soft tyres will be a luring threat in the back mirrors of Return, as Return might try and fancy his chances once again on Robert, but a bit too far back on this equation. As Dirikuti finally comes in, to serve his pit stop, as there's a yellow flag somewhere, and oh, Mob. Oh dear, how can your season get? He's spun coming into turn 17, and his tyres look absolutely toasted. He might be in a risk getting a puncture, and he sensible comes into the pits
as
there.
He spins coming into the pits. Ooh, just hits the pit wall there, but I think he gets saved a bit by the automatic reset. But coming into the pits here, with those very old super soft tyres.
If he span, he replicated what JD did in season 7, I'm pretty sure, in Abu Dhabi, where actually span, where his tyres were wrecked as well back all those years ago. But yeah, more back out in last position as he was, as Richie B in return going side by side into the braking zone of turn 8, and unsurprisingly Richie B gets ahead of his Dutch compatriot with those fresher super soft tyres to his use. And it's no real match, but Return might try and fancy getting back past him with the use of DRS heading down towards turn 11. He's got the outside line, but can he make it? He can't quite make it stick, and Return stays behind his Toro Rosso countryman. And with Richie B up into 10th, and he's got Hooper ahead of him, who's also on 1 lap old tyres, and he's trying to get past Robert, but he can't quite get past him on this occasion. But give him a few more corners, and I think we'll see a change in that 8th position, as Hainen is the next one to come into the pits.
Yep, as we see Robert going a bit wide, and then Hooper coming from behind. As they both go a bit wide in the final corner. What will Hooper be able to do in the first couple of corners here? He tries to go down the inside, but thinks better of it, just has that little look. As we see the Hitsling coming out of the pits in the bottom, and then the left side comes out in front of these two, but Hooper tries to go around the outside, very little space for him, and as he keeps behind into the chicane, what about into the hairpin and down the straight with some DRS? Will we see something? They're very close, as you see, but coming down the straight here, as he will get the DRS there, as will Robert, but he isn't able to keep behind us there. Hooper goes down the inside. What will he be able to do? He makes the move stick easily before they go on to the next straight, but there Robert looks like about to fight back with some DRS. Will he be able to do it? They go side by side coming into the chicane here again, as the Hooper goes down the inside, and will Robert be able to keep it? No, he will not be able to. Hooper gets the position back, and there comes Richie B from behind. Let's turn into a 3-way battle, so you can also see Return in the background, maybe a 4-way scrap for this one position. But we see just Robert here behind Hooper, just trying to go past. But will he be able to do it? Doesn't look like it, as Hooper's pulling away just a tiny bit now.
And Zerda's actually made his second pit stop, and he comes out in 3rd. It just shows how dominant he's been in the opening few stints of his race. As Ryzen actually also makes his second pit stop of the evening, and he's going to come out just outside the point and behind this battle. So he's going to add himself into the equation of what has been a thrilling scrap for the lower paying points positions, as I think no, Zerd's a bit too far back on Chrysler's tail to maybe make a move, but I think Zerd is about 10 seconds off the lead, there or thereabouts, so I think the victory will pretty much be his, unless Ultrasoft tyres decide to die. It's Reina who leads this Grand Prix, by the way, from Chrysler, from Zerd, and that Sero might try and fancy getting past Zerd, but not quite on this occasion. Actually, no, he does get past him. On my screen, he just absolutely bashed into the back end of him and got past him. Has Zerd got an issue of some sorts? Because on my screen, he's lost the position to Lazzaro, but on the stream I can see he's in second position.
Don't count on the stream. That's all over the place because Reina's now down in 13th. So
but Zerd's ahead of both Renaults.
Yeah, now I think I don't think you can count on anything right now.
Is Zerd ahead of both Renaults?
Yes. On my screen at least.
Yeah, the time for just sorting themselves out. So Zerd is now in second position, and he's about 10 seconds behind Reina, I should say, Reina who leads this Grand Prix. Be looking to, if he can make those super soft tyres last, he could be on course to take another victory, but Zerd will be really quick behind him. And we're going to have to wait and see as there's more battling throughout the field. Robert again leads this train with himself, Richie B, Return and Ryzen are going side by side in towards turn 5. And that is a pretty easy move from the German driver to retake that 10th position in today's race and get past the Haasman, who hasn't had the better pace so far. That's out points as Ryzen makes his way up into 10th position, and he's got Richie B ahead of him, and Richie B has got Robert ahead of him. Can Richie B try and get past the Force India heading in towards the chicane? Nope, he's too far back on that particular occasion, but it's a bit loose coming out of that hairpin. Chicane, I should say. Ryzen will be on his tail. He's going to be wary of that Southman, but he's also going to be wary in front of him. And he's going to try to go down the inside at turn 11. Robert gives him the space, because it's a bit wide coming. Oh, that's a bit awkward, to be honest. And Ryzen's right on the tail of both of them as Robert keeps hold of that 8th position. Richard B keeps hold of that 9th place spot, but here comes Ryzen now. Going to try to go round the outside of turn 15 and 16, but sensibly thinks better of it because don't think side-by-side moments are too appropriate coming through there. We saw Nico Rosberg and Narain Carter-King, the Cucumber legend. They had an almighty crash in 2012 for that particular section. And the last thing Richie B and Ryzen have on my mind is crashing there. Ryzen going to wait sensibly to maybe try and get past him on this straight. He's got a much better exit compared to Toros, who defends aggressively to the inside line. Ryzen trying to hang it around the outside, and he does get the job done. Richie B nearly loses it coming out of turn 1, and that could give Return a chance to get past him. And yeah, Return has got that 10th place spot back from Richie B's hands, who just needs to let his tyres cool a little bit, to bide his time a little bit more, because his tyres will certainly last to the end of the race, and that is not a great way to lose 2 positions in a lot of time.
No, it really isn't, but if he can get those tyres cooled and get back into this fight, he could be on for some points as he goes up here behind Return, getting real close, but not thinking of making any moves, as that would have been a bit too far back and a bit too optimistic, and with too big of a chance of getting into the back of him. As we see here, Robert and Ryson scrapping a bit. That's Ryson getting past Robert down the DRS straight. Very easy pass, as you would have expected with the DRS.
Yep, he's up into 8th position, and he's got Hooper 2.2 seconds up the road on only 5 lap old Ultrasoft tyres compared to 2 lap olds on the German Sauber's chariot. So Hooper, the next victim, hopefully for Ryzen's case, for the battle for 7th position. Ryzen actually picks himself a penalty up, but I don't think he'll care too much. He'll be just looking to pump those fast laps in and get onto the back end of Hooper with only 8 laps to go of not just this race, but this season. And it's Reina who currently leads about 6 seconds ahead according to the stream, ahead of Zerd, with Crysis in third, Lazzaro in fourth, Big Boss in fifth, Hayden in sixth, Hooper in seventh, Ryzen in eighth, Robert in ninth, Return rounding up the top 10 with Richie B. And look at this then, Diricoti in 12th position, getting very interested in this scrap for 10th position, with all his teammates 3.2 seconds adrift, and Mob rounding out the top 14 in no man's land, to be honest, down in 14th place, really outside of the points and really outside of the equation for any major collisions, as that is Zerd going off the track, so we'll just ignore that, as Return is still ahead, his teammate of Richie B and Diricoti. Diricoti getting very interested, maybe make a move, heading down towards 10-11. It might be Richie B who fancies his chances, but he can't get past Return, and Return defending aggressively, but there's Diricoti going off the track there, and he takes that 11th place off Richie B. There might have been a bit of argy-bargy contact between the two of them, but Diricoti has clawed his way past the Toro Rosso, and I think Richie B has some wing damage. Yeah, he's struggling for grip there, and yeah, the front right end plate has deteriorated a little bit, and Richie B's final race here in F4 is not really gone to plan, and I think he's darting into the pits. He is. Oh, what a shame for him. He was looking on course to maybe get a good points haul, but after that mistake a few laps ago, I think he made contact with Diricoti, and he's now in to put on a set of Hypersoft tyres, I assume, and for a very unscheduled pit stop. No, it's going to be 11 lap old Ultrasoft tyres. That's very confusing.
Yeah, it could have been that he didn't have any fresh tyres left.
No.
Unfortunate for him. Both with the wing damage and then not having any fresh, fast tyres to put on, or even any fresh at all.
So then, the battle for 7th position in today's race between Hooper and Ryzen. The only real gap, real battle for Big. No, I just proved myself wrong, because look at this then. Diricoti right on the tail of Return, heading down towards turn 11. The Finn has the inside line ahead of the Haas, and he breezes past with relative ease, but he gets a really bad exit coming out of turn 11. Can Return try and fight back for this 10th position? It's for points, but he can't get past him, and Diricoti, quite interestingly, to put it, gets past the Haas driver and up into P10 in today's race. And with those fresher tyres compared to the drivers in front of him, he might fancy getting past Robert as well, who's on 12-hole super soft tyres, and his tyres are looking quite worse aware. With 6 laps to go of this race, Diricoti up into 10th, Return down into 11th.
And I think you just cut out there with some internet problems. But never mind that. That is another issue for another time to fix. Now let's just focus on the race. And this battle for the midfield has been amazing through this race. And it's really...
whole season.
Yeah, the whole season. It's really sad to see it go from now. So yeah, but with 8 laps to go. 6. Maths. It's great. I was up early, don't mind me. It'll be great to see who will come out on top in this race. As we see Marina in first place, I believe still, if that's not desync, putting him down into 5th. And then Zerd in 2nd there, who's just trying to catch him. I can't see the gap because that's how this game works apparently. No, 3 seconds it looks like, so it'll be interesting to see if Zerd can catch up to Reina and finish his season out with a win.
Yeah, that's one battle to keep an eye on. Another battle to keep an eye on is the battle for 5th position, with Big Boss ahead of Heitinen. Heitinen, his 2-stop strategy hasn't worked to the heights he probably would have hoped for. He probably would have hoped for battling maybe with the Renaults, or maybe even Reina, because that's what Zerd is trying to do now, catch up to the Mercedes. It's 3 seconds with about 5 laps to go, but Heitinen has the Ferrari ahead of him to focus on. as Big Boss doesn't get the best exit, bit wide coming out of turn 7. That can invite Heinen to maybe pounce on the Ferrari's mistake. As Reina picks himself a penalty, that could be ever crucial in his battle with Zerd come the end. As here we go, then Heinen pulls out to the inside, going wheel to wheel with Big Boss, and with the inside line is a clean pass. But Big Boss might try and fancy getting back past him with the use of DRS down the second straight, but Heinen had just too good of an exit, and Big Boss has no response, and that is 5th place for the Sauber.
Now, as we see this fight with Royce, no, that's not a fight because of desync, but Hooper trying to catch up to Royce again, and maybe up to this battle for the top of this. We see some yellow flags in sector 3.
Mob.
Oh, Mob, once again. His season has just not been what he had hoped for. Really unfortunate as he goes wide there over the curbs in sector 1. His return gets a 5-second stop go penalty for exceeding track limits. It's really, and there we see Diri Coyote, it's really a track where it's easy to do with these big runoff areas. Just so inviting to just get just off track, to just get that more performance out of the car, but then getting a bit too much off and then getting a penalty for it. That's really something these drivers have done a lot this race.
Yeah, I've just gone to RaceRec and I've seen a ton of penalties to everyone. Apart from Kreisix though. Kreisix has been pretty clean for not just this race, but for the whole season long. He's been one of the most consistent drivers in this season. And right now he is going to take 3rd position in today's race, and with it, 2nd position in the championship. Because rising down in 7th at the 6th at the moment.
7th.
No, 7th.
7th.
That means that the 4-point gap will be, the maths are correct, 5 points in Kreisix's favour. Kreisix will take that 2nd position. Be good on him, to be honest, because he looked pretty much out of it. Getting 2nd place, it looked like 3rd position would have been his. As Lazaro gets another 3-second time penalty. That's his 2nd in 2 laps, which really is going to hurt him in his battle with Heinen, because Heinen's catching up to the Renault driver very, very quickly. And with 3 laps to go as they start lap 26, Heinen might not catch up to them and get past him on track, but penalties, I think. Oh no, I just jinxed it. Commentator's curse. Heinen gets a 3-second penalty. So it's going to be interesting when penalties do apply, as the gap between Reina and Zerd is unknown at the moment, but unfortunately one of them is desync on my screen and the other is desync on your screen. So when we go to when the winner crosses the line, it's going to be quite a guessing game who actually is going to win this race.
Yes, because Reina is in 1st place, but on my screen he just fell down to 12th. He is in front of Zerd, but invisible in front of Zerd, and visible further down the field, and drivers are going through him. And on your screen you have Zerd somewhere else. But we will be seeing in the end what the game decides to do, as the correct fact is that Reina is leading for now, and Zerd is catching up to him.
Yeah, and it's just such a shame because I'm pretty sure Zerd was going to attack him, and Reina's going to cross the line to start lap 27. It says he's in 2nd place on my screen, 8 tenths behind Zerd, so I think Zerd has taken over the lead. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Reina's still in 3rd, gap is 0.177.
Right, we could do a thing where I could show you where Reina is on my screen, and you could say where Zerd is on your screen, and see who's actually in the lead. So Reina's coming through turn 7 now. Where's Zerd?
Through the hairpin. On the straight.
So unfortunate is that's Mob. Oh, return! What's happened to him? He's got no wing. So, as I can't see one Haas driver, yeah, return, that's what caused the yellow flag. He's without pretty much a front wing. He lost it at the hotel section. And, yeah, not the best way to end his season either, coming into the pits now. And that'll pretty much end his hopes of getting any points in today's race. And he does retire. So he didn't decide to carry on. And that is disappointing for him. Another DNF to add to Brazil last time out, so he ends the season off with 2 DNFs. It's Heinen and Lazzaro squabbling for that 4th position, and Heinen does get ahead of the British Renault driver, and he is up into 4th position in today's race, as Reina is going to start lap 28 in due course. But yeah, Heinen up into 4th, Lazzaro down to 5th, and Robert and Diricoti are battling away for 8th position. Robert's trying to go round the outside. Diricoti defending the inside line, hammer and tongue for this 9th position. And can Diricoti hang on to that position? Yes, he can. 9th spot goes to him ahead of Robert. 2 fantastic battles going on in the penultimate lap. And Reina is making his way through the chicane of 5 and 6, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, I think he's in 2nd place. I think Zerd is going to win this race, and with more yellow flags somewhere, not quite sure who it is for. That's Heronly Loser coming out of turn 3 there. If he DNF from the race on the last lap, that would be absolutely heartbreaking, to say the least, for him. He's in 5th position at the moment, probably going to finish 5th on track, maybe 6th or 7th thanks to penalties because he's got a sheer load of them. But yet the final lap of the season, Reina is making his way down the straight towards turn 11, 12, 13. I think Zerd's a bit further ahead of him.
Which you cut out, I think you're gone again, due to internet issues. But yeah, we see here Zerd coming through the double right-hander into the hotel section. I don't really know where Rain is.
Just behind him,
yep,
I think.
I think Zerd will get the win here, coming through the last couple of corners, through the last corner, finishing off this season 16, weaves a bit from side to side. I think that's an indication that he got the win, and Reina just behind him, even though he's not in 2nd place.
Oh,
Kreisig gets 1st place due to penalties, I think. No. What's happening on the screens now, I don't know, but now Kreisig for me is in 2nd. Zerd's in 1st, Reina in 3rd, Lazzaro in 4th, Hitznen in 5th, Royson, actually Lazzaro in 5th, Hitznen in 6th, Royson in 7th. What will happen when Huber crosses the line? Gets a bit wayward almost, and he crashes just before the line. Goes over there. That's 8th place for him. What about Ducodin? That's 9th. Robert down there goes into 11th. Eli into 9th. Ducodin 10th. Richie Marv crosses to 13th. What about Richie B? Last driver to cross the line in F4. But we'll have to wait some time because he's quite far back. Yeah, coming in here to the hotel section. That's the cameras are everywhere now. Coming around to the last couple of corners, I believe. Coming around the last corner here. And he will then finish this off.
He's doing donuts.
He's doing donuts instead. So we'll sit here and watch them, because we don't have anything else to do but some donuts from Richie B. See, they're coming across the line now. Finishing in 2nd to last of the actual finishers, and it'll be interesting to see what the standings will actually be here for this race. The results of it after the penalties will be Zerd, Kreisig and Reina on the podium there.
There we go then. Zerd finishing off the season in style, taking his, pretty sure is his 6th win of the season. 6 wins out of 21. Fantastic season from him. Haas has been number one in this season, and he finished the season off with a commanding victory. Well, commanding probably isn't the best word to say because he had to make that two-stop work, and he did so, finishing 4.7 seconds ahead of Crysis in the end, with Reina in third. With those two penalties costing him that second position, Big Boss in fourth, Lazzaro in fifth, then Heitinen comes home in sixth, Ryzen in seventh, Hooper in eighth, Eli in ninth, and Dirikoti rounding out the top 10. Robert in 11th, Richie B in 12th, Marb in 13th, Return in 14th, and there we go then. Season 16 in PCF4 is over, and I'm pretty sure that's Sarah. Does he want to do it? I'm thinking about it. Yeah, but there we go there, gents. Season 16 is over.
Yep, it very much is, and that's very unfortunate. And we'll be maybe having an interview, as you were saying. If we're just waiting to see what will happen. As I don't know if...
He said, yeah, why not? Okay, so what we're gonna have to do is I'll make a thing with Alfie. Think if I just add him as a friend.
Why don't you just ask him to come in here? That's
Okay,
oh,
no, he can't because he doesn't have permission.
Oh,
So,
well, I can drag him in if you put him in the ready for interview, I believe.
Eli's actually in the commentary box. I can move Eli in, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, I can move Eli. Should I move Eli in?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Eli, come in. He's currently muted, so that's great.
Earth to
Yeah,
Eli.
no, he can't hear. He's deafened. Looks like Eli doesn't want to talk to us.
Well, maybe he does.
Who knows? I can move him back up so he doesn't do anything stupid. I'll do that so he can write to me if he's ready to talk because he doesn't really want to. Do you have anyone?
What I can do is we can do a separate call with that Sarah in it.
Yes, we could.
We can start that one and then we can interview.
Yep.
Sound good? Apologies for the slight technical difficulty on the stream, but we just want to get one interview in because we haven't had one all season long. So you might get a Discord ding ding thing. I'll see you on this call.
Yeah. So I think we're back into everything here. So we're here with the first and final interview of this season.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, peace.
Hi, Alfie.
Hi.
So how was your race then? It seemed pretty eventful. You were squabbling with your teammates, and then at the end it kind of just settled down before you had that battle with Heighton. And just describe your race in a few words.
Time trial setup and high tyre wear doesn't go well together. That's all I can say.
How come?
Just whenever, at the first few laps of my stints were really good, but whenever they got like 40% or higher the tyres, I just couldn't control the car, and George just fell off or went on with time penalties.
Alright, so the season's over. You picked up probably a podium, which probably your best. But then again, you had so many DNFs. How are you satisfied with this season, or were you left feeling a little bit wrong? Left feeling, I could have done more on this season.
Could have done more, yeah.
Was you say the best race?
Coat was definitely the best by far, and I do think that if I'd actually practiced a lot more for some races, I could have got a lot more points this season, but I didn't, and I've ended up like 29, is it? At 29 for now, I think.
Could be at this rate, yeah. But not a bad season overall. You're going to sign up for season 17.
Yeah.
Okay, F4 the hope again? Because as seasons progress, times are getting quicker and quicker and quicker, and as more drivers enter, like the competition faces up, and you think F4 is probably where you're going to stay.
I think it might be, yeah, split 4.
All right, thanks for talking to us. So, hello, Eli.
Yo, yo.
Welcome to the second and last interview of the F4. How was your race? You finished in P9 at the end. And it's a bit lonely, but then once again, you get next to no penalties and you capitalise on it.
Yeah, it was quite a lonely race for me, actually. Qualified P10 on the Ultrasoft, which was not the greatest thing. And then, yeah, the start was pretty conservative as always, and yeah, just tried not to get any damage from other cars. And got stuck behind my teammate for the whole first stint, which was not ideal. Also had the DRS failure at the beginning of the race, so for 5 laps I didn't have any DRS, so that was not ideal. And yeah, then pitted on lap 12 for Supersofts, and yeah, it just was on my own really because I lost a lot of time because of yeah, my teammate being ahead of me. Yeah, me not being able to pass him. So yeah, just got a bit of pace in the end on one Supersoft and could catch up to Return, whom I actually managed to overtake. And yeah, only got 3 seconds of penalty, which was yeah quite retarded to be honest. I got one slam dunk penalty for some reason, so on lap 2, so I needed to be cautious, and yeah, just take my teammate.
Yeah, you've kind of been like that, picking up positions at the end, Merchant, where you've just been having a clean race, and then you pick up penalties because everyone else decides they want the corner cut or somewhat. But your season, then, just sum up in a few words. I know you thought it didn't go to plan, but at the end you kind of got on a good trend, and you started to pick up a few points, and then obviously that 5th place in Suzuka, I think, and that 4th place in Brazil was your highlight of the season?
Well, yeah. First question. Yeah, my the first part of the season was definitely not good. I mean, I could have scored points in a lot of races. I mean, for example, Australia, Bahrain, Baku. I think those 3 races I could have done like an easy top 8. I think so that was yeah, that was a bit. It was very frustrating actually, and yeah, just didn't really seem to be on the pace compared to the other ones. But yeah. From Germany onwards, I just found a little bit more pace to be able to catch the cars ahead, to be consistent in the points, and yeah, just consistency is king. And first you have to finish, you know. So yeah, just finishing all the races. Actually, I think I'm the only one who has finished all the races, and yeah, just not getting penalties. That was the main thing, and yeah, just took a lot of benefit from it. And yeah, second question. My highlight of the season, probably Suzuka, yeah, was a tricky race, was disgusting Grand Prix. I think I hit let 0, then I think, yeah, low grip, rain falling a little bit. I had a glitch in the pits where I got stuck for like 30 seconds, which was not ideal. 2 safety cars. Yeah, 5th place was a bit of a miracle. But yeah, in Brazil, I was not really on pace. I was just sort of cruising around. Eventually got promoted to P4, but P5 in the end, so that I got his penalty removed. So yeah, I think Suzuka was probably a bit of a highlight, of course.
And one final question about the season. Are you going to sign up for it? And if you are, then is F4 the aim again?
Yes, I'm going to do season 17. Of course, F4 is the goal, but if there are faster people out there, then they might take my seat. So yeah, we'll see.
Jens, any final question?
No, not from my side. You've done brilliant.
Well, because you started the season out, Jens, you might as well end it.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, it is not over until the fat lady sings. And as you probably haven't heard, but the fat lady has sung, so we have to end the season here. And it has been a pleasure commentating for you, and we will hopefully see you again in some other AOR stream. Until then, have a good one. Goodbye.